I'm Phil Brock. This is Brock and Your Block, and we're upstairs, a place that most people don't get to see, in the historic Hippodrome in Santa Monica. Yes, Charles Looff built this 100 years ago, and it's the 100th anniversary today of the Hippodrome. Jim Harris, the Deputy Director of the Santa Monica Pier, is here with me. Tell me about the Hippodrome. Tell me about this building and a little bit about the history of these apartments.
Well, it's a very special day, Phil. 100 years ago today, the doors were flung open and the band organ was turned on and people could hear the music in downtown Santa Monica. They came down to check out what was going on. It was the opening of the Looff Carousel and the Looff Hippodrome. And we're standing, of course, as you said, in the Looff Hippodrome right now. Looff's Carousel is long gone. We have another one that is an antique, a 1922 antique in here. But this building has always had a merry-go-round in it, and it's always had interesting stories.
And so tell me some of those stories, because everyone who comes to Santa Monica, those 8.3 million tourists a year, all know the merry-go-round. But most of them don't get to hear the special stories that occurred in this building.
Well, I can tell you many, many stories, and most of them are long, but we have Marilyn Monroe stories, we have Charlie Chaplin stories, we have Joan Baez stories about the apartments upstairs in the merry-go-round building. People actually used to live up here, and there were rumors for a long time that Joan Baez did, that W.C. Fields did, and you can come down and find out for yourself whether those are true or not, but there were certainly a lot of characters and a lot of great stories of what happened in life above the merry-go-round.
And people lived here for a long time. There were also movies filmed here.
There were. The Sting, everybody knows The Sting, and it's set in Chicago, right? But they used this building, the merry-go-round building, and the apartments in the merry-go-round building, the Hippodrome. Paul Newman and his buddies are hatching up the scheme to get at the gambler in The Sting, while Robert Redford stands alongside and watches. And of course the horses are in it as well. Dennis Hopper's first starring role was in a movie called Night Tide, and about a third of that movie was shot on the Santa Monica Pier, and much of that inside this building and again in the apartments. There was a 1966 music video, not called a music video back then, but a short film by Bruce Conner, who was sort of a beatnik director. That's mostly what he's known for. It was a one person dancing to music, and that one person was Tony Basil. The video is called Breakaway.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very cool. And I think it's remarkable in Santa Monica because until recently it didn't seem that we valued our history that much. But you know what? We value this building.
And I think we should. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places. That's the highest distinction a building can have. And people are really starting to come around and appreciate it for more than just that, but for what it is. There's a wonderful story that George Gordon used to tell. George Gordon, who used to own the merry-go-round, and he used to own Playland Arcade before he passed. Oh. And he tells the story of you come to the merry-go-round when you're a child, and you enjoy going around and around then and you leave it, and you outgrow it. Then you come back with your own children, and you go around and around with your children, and then you leave that, and then you come back with your grandchildren. So you're always coming back. It's always full circle, which is appropriate because it's a merry-go-round. Right.
And I think it's very interesting, too, that not only do we value the building, but tell me a little bit about the people who built this. Tell me about this Charles Looff character.
Well, Charles Looff was a carousel carver. He was a Danish immigrant living on the East Coast, and he carved the first two carousels ever at Coney Island. And then after that, he made an enterprise out of it and expanded into full-size amusement parks. And he came to the Santa Monica, recognized that this was an ideal location for an amusement park pier next to the existing municipal pier. And so he built, in 1916 and 17, he built the Looff Pleasure Pier. At that time, it was the Santa Monica Municipal Pier, and then next to it was the Looff Pleasure Pier. Today, we refer to the whole thing as the Santa Monica Pier. But this ended up being his last project before he passed. We like to think of it as crowning achievement.
Now, here's the final major question. This is what everyone in Santa Monica wants to know. Did Popeye ever ride the carousel?
That's a really good question. And the story of Popeye being patterned after one of the sea captains out at the end, but I cannot tell you if he ever actually rode the carousel.
Well, from now on, for all the viewers, we're going to say that he did. We'll start that folklore that Popeye, he didn't live up here, did he?
He did not live up here. I'll tell you one thing, though. We have a Popeye impersonator showing up downstairs.
Oh, I'll look forward to seeing him.
Yes.
Because
We'll
I
get
happen
him.
to love spinach.
And we'll get him to ride the merry-go-round, and then you can say, Popeye rode the merry-go-round.
There you go. So I'm going to go downstairs, and I know there's going to be stories and people, and we'll fill in more later. Jim, thanks for joining me. I know you have to do at least 100 spins on the merry-go-round today. To match that, I'm going to pass on the 100 spins.
Okay.
But it's really great to be here on the centennial of the Looff Hippodrome and to see our merry-go-round still giving joy to so many from throughout the world when they visit Santa Monica.
Thank you, Phil.
Take it easy. Good to see you. Let's get
too.
back down there and let's ride the merry-go-round. Do I get a discount?
Can you afford a nickel?
Yes, I can do that. I just found Judy Abdo, esteemed former mayor and former council member of the city, and I've heard you have something to do with the pier, hence you have something to do with this 100-year-old building today.
Yes, I am on the Pier board. I'm chairing it right now. And we're very excited to be celebrating the 100th anniversary of this movie. And in a sense of the carousel itself.
That was probably the first carousel I ever rode in my life. I rode this earlier during the celebration today. And it's a wonderful way just to feel that you are transported
I think that's absolutely true.
My grandfather used to fish a little bit west of where we're standing right now. What else is happening? I know you're wearing this wonderful t-shirt that says Twilight Dancer at Santa Monica Pier. Now, I don't expect that that's actually a billboard, but I know it is. So tell me, what else is happening on the pier this summer?
Well, the Pier concerts start the Thursday after the 4 o'clock. They run for 10 weeks.
Good to talk to you, Judy.
Thank you very much.
This has been a great day at the Hippodrome, Santa Monica Pier's Carousel building. Anniversary, 100th anniversary of this building. This is fantastic. Thank you for watching Brock and Your Block.